Hi everyone, my name is Kajol Shah. I'm an occupational therapy student at the University of Texas Medical Branch. Welcome to Ages and Stages. In this video, I will be covering developmental milestones. So why is tracking milestones important? Well, they offer important clues about a child's developmental health. Reaching milestones at the typical ages shows a child is developing as expected. Not reaching milestones may indicate developmental delay. Now, in the next few slides, I'm going to go over some typical milestones for each age. So at 2 months, in the socio-emotional category, your baby calms down when spoken to or picked up, looks at your face, seems happy to see you when you walk up, and smiles when you talk or smile. Cognitively, they watch you as you move and look at a toy for several seconds. For language and communication, they make sounds other than crying and they can react to loud sounds. Physically, they can hold their head up while on their tummy, move both arms and both legs, and open their hands briefly. For 4 months, socio-emotionally, they smile on their own to get your attention. They can chuckle, they can look at you, move, and make sounds to get or keep your attention. Cognitively, if they're hungry, they'll open their mouth when they see a breast or bottle, and they look at their hands with interest. For language and communication, they make sounds like ooh and ah. They make sounds back when you talk to them and turn their head towards the sound of your voice. Physically, they can hold their head steady without support when holding them, hold a toy in their hand, use their arm to swing at toys, bring their hands to their mouths, and push up onto elbows and forearms when they're on their tummy. At 6 months, socio-emotionally, they know familiar people, they like to look at themselves in a mirror, and they laugh. Cognitively, they put things in their mouth to explore them, they reach to grab a toy, and they close their lips to show that they don't want any more food. For language and communication, they take turns making sounds with you, they blow raspberries, and they make squealing noises. Physically, they roll from their tummy to their back. They can push up with straight arms when they're on their tummy, and they can lean on their hands for support when sitting. At 9 months, socio-emotionally, they're shy, clingy, or feel fearful around strangers. They show several facial expressions. They look at you when you call their name. They react when you leave, and they smile or laugh when you play peekaboo. Cognitively, they look for objects when the object has been dropped out of sight, and they bang two things together. For language, they make different sounds like mama and baba. They lift their arms to be picked up. Physically, they get to a sitting position without support. They can move things from one hand to another hand, and they can use their fingers to rake their food. At 12 months, they like to play games with you like patty cake. For cognitive, they can put something in a container like a block in a cup, and they can look for a toy that you've hidden under a blanket. For language, they can wave bye-bye and call a parent mama or dada or another special name. They understand the meaning of no. Physically, they pull up the stand, they walk holding onto furniture, they can drink from a cup without a lid as you hold it, and they can pick up things between their thumb and pointer finger, like small bits of food. At 15 months, the cognitive and physical are the same as the 12 months, so I'll just be going over the socio-emotional and language. So for socio-emotional, they can copy other children while playing, shows you an object they like, they clap when they're excited, they hug stuffed dolls or other toys, and they show you affection. And for language, they try to say one or two words like ba for ball and da for dog. They look at familiar objects when you name it, follows directions given with both gesture and words, and they can point to ask for something or to get help. At 18 months, socio-emotionally, they move away from you, but looks to make sure that you're close by, points to show you something interesting, puts hands out for you to wash them, looks at a few pages in a book with you, helps you dress them by pushing an arm out through the sleeve or lifting up a foot. Cognitively, they copy you doing chores, and they play with simple toys. They play with toys in a simple way, like pushing a toy car. For language, they try to say three or more words, and they follow one-step directions. Physically, they're able to walk without holding on. They can scribble, and they can drink from a cup without a lid. They finger feed, they can try to use a spoon, and they'll climb on and off a couch or a chair without help. At 2 years, your baby notices when others are hurt or upset, like pausing or looking sad when someone's crying, and they look at your face to see how you react in a new situation. Cognitively, they hold something in one hand while using the other hand. They can try to use switches, knobs, or buttons on a toy, and they play with more than one toy at the same time, like putting toy food on a toy plate. For language and communication, they point to things in a book when asked to identify something. They can say at least two words together. They can point to at least two body parts, and they have more gestures like blowing a kiss or nodding yes. Physically, they kick a ball, they can run, they can walk up a few stairs, and they can eat with a spoon. At 30 months, for socio-emotional, they play next to other children. They show you what they can do by saying, "Look at me," and they can follow simple routines. Cognitively, they use things to pretend. They show simple problem solving skills like standing on a small stool to reach something. They follow two-step instructions, and they can show that they know at least one color. For language and communication, they can say about 50 words, say two or more words together with one action word like doggy run, and they can name things in a book when you point and ask, "What is this?" Physically, they use hands to twist things like turning doorknobs or unscrewing lids. They can take some clothes off, they jump off the ground, and they can turn book pages. At 3 years, for socio-emotional, they calm down within 10 minutes after you leave them at a childcare drop-off, and they can notice other children and join them to play. Cognitively, they can draw a circle when you show him how, and they avoid touching hot objects when you warn them. Language and communication, they can talk in conversation well enough for others to understand, ask who, what, where, or why questions. They can say what action is happening in a picture or book, and they can say their first name. Physically, they string items together like large beets or macaroni. They can put on some clothes, and they can use a fork. The CDC has a free mobile app that parents can download to track their child's milestones. Just go to cdc.gov/milestone tracker to get started. On this slide, I've included an infographic from pathways.org that highlights and summarizes typical speech, play, and physical development at different ages. Feel free to pause the video and give it a read. They also gave a few tips that you can use that can help your baby's development at different ages. That's all for this presentation. Thank you for tuning in.